There is a city that sits beside the sea, a city built of stone and plaster, and the dreams of people who lived 2,000 years ago. It is a city that has become famous for its ending, for the way it was buried and preserved, for the disaster that made it immortal. But tonight we are not going to think about endings. Tonight we are going to think about beginnings, about the long stretch of years when this city was simply a place where people lived, where children were born and grew up and had children of their own, where work was done and meals were eaten and stories were told, where the sun rose and set day after day after day, and nothing out of the ordinary ever happened. Tonight we are going to walk through Pompeii as it was meant to be seen, not as a monument to catastrophe, but as a living, breathing Roman town, where ordinary life unfolded in all its richness, all its complexity, all its quiet beauty. Hey, tonight we are going to drift gently backward through time to that Pompeii, to the decades and centuries before the mountain stirred, to walk its streets and enter its houses, to listen for the voices that still seem to whisper from the walls. We will explore the daily rhythms of life in this place by the bay, the customs and beliefs, the work and the rest, the public celebrations and the private moments. We will wander through the forum and the baths, the bakeries and the brothels, the gardens and the workshops, the temples and the theatres, and we will do it slowly, quietly, as if we are walking beside someone who has lived here all their life, someone who has all the time in the world to show us around. Before we settle in, take a moment to like the video and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content. It really helps support the channel. And let me know in the comments where you are listening from and what time it is for you right now. I love seeing how many different places come together here. Now, dim the lights. Let a soft background sound fill the room and gently ease into tonight's journey. The first thing you would notice, if you could walk into Pompeii on an ordinary morning 2,000 years ago, is the light. It is a southern light, bright and clear and golden, pouring down from a sky so blue it almost hurts to look at. The sun rises early here, climbing quickly over the mountains to the east, flooding the streets with warmth even before the morning chill has quite faded. The light falls on walls painted in shades of ochre and red and white, on paving stones worn smooth by centuries of feet, on the distant blue of the bay that stretches away to the west. It is a gentle light, a forgiving light, a light that makes everything look softer and more beautiful than it really is. The city sits on a spur of volcanic rock, a natural platform raised slightly above the surrounding plain, and from its edges you can see in every direction. To the west, the Bay of Naples stretches out, its water changing colour with the movement of the sun, from deep blue to pale green to silver, dotted with the sails of fishing boats and merchant ships. To the north, Mount Vesuvius rises, its slopes green with vineyards and farms, its summit a gentle curve against the sky, so gradual, so peaceful, that it hardly seems like a mountain at all, more like a hill, a friendly presence on the horizon. The mountain has been quiet for as long as anyone can remember, quiet for so many generations that people have stopped thinking of it as a mountain that could ever be anything else. They have come to see it instead as part of the landscape, as permanent and unchanging as the sea itself, as reliable as the sun that rises behind it each morning. The streets of Pompeii begin to stir before the sun is fully up. The first sounds are the smallest sounds, the crowing of roosters from houses scattered across the city, the barking of dogs, the creak of wooden shutters being opened for the first time. Slaves are the earliest risers, moving quietly through the houses they serve, fetching water from the public fountains, lighting the fires in the kitchens, sweeping the courtyards and sprinkling them with water to keep the dust down. Their movements are practiced, efficient, almost silent. They have done these same tasks every morning for years, for decades, for their entire lives, and they will do them again tomorrow, and the day after, and the day after that. In the bakery of Modestus, on the street that leads from the Forum toward the Nuceria Gate, the ovens have been burning since before dawn. The baker's slaves have been working through the night, kneading dough, shaping loaves, tending the fire, and now, as the sky begins to lighten in the east, the smell of fresh bread is beginning to drift through the neighbourhood, mixing with the smoke from 100 small fires, mixing with the salt scent of the sea, mixing with the faint sweetness of flowers from hidden gardens. It is a smell that will linger all morning, drawing people from their houses, reminding them that the day has begun. The baker himself is probably still asleep. It is his slaves who do the real work of the night, tending the ovens, kneading the dough, grinding the grain between heavy lava stones that turn slowly, endlessly, pulled by donkeys who walk in circles hour after hour. The donkeys wear blinders to keep them from getting dizzy, and their hooves have worn a circular path into the stone floor, a groove that grows deeper year by year, deeper with each passing season, deeper with each rotation of the sun around the earth. The millstones themselves are made of volcanic rock from the region, rough and dark, their surfaces carved with grooves that channel the ground flour downward into collection baskets. It is hard work, grinding grain, and it never stops. The city must eat every day, and so the mills must turn every day, and so the donkeys must walk every day, their patient circular journey marking the hours of the night, marking the passage of time in the only way they know, step after step after step, around and around and around, until the grain is ground and the bread is baked, and the city awakens to another morning. By the time the sun is fully above the horizon, the streets are busy, the shops are opening, their wooden shutters folded back to display the goods within. The vegetable sellers are arranging their produce in neat piles, cabbages and leeks, onions and garlic, broad beans and lentils, lettuces and herbs, all grown in the rich volcanic soil that surrounds the city, all brought to market by farmers who rose even earlier than the slaves, who loaded their carts in the darkness, who drove their donkeys along roads still wet with dew, so that their produce would be fresh, so that their customers would be pleased, so that they could return home with coins in their pockets and empty carts behind them. The fishmongers are setting out their catch, brought in overnight by small boats from the bay, gleaming silver and pink on slabs of marble. The fish are still wet, still glistening, still fresh from the sea. Their eyes are clear, their gills are red, their scales catch the morning light and scatter it into rainbows. The fishmongers call out their prices, praising the quality of their goods, insisting that no one in Pompeii has better fish than they do. The butcher is sharpening his knives, preparing for the day's work. His shop is already busy. Women with baskets, slaves with orders, cooks from the great houses, all waiting to select the best cuts, the freshest meat, the choicest portions for the meals they will prepare. The butcher works quickly, efficiently, his knife moving through meat and bone with practiced ease. He has been doing this work since he was a boy, learning from his father, who learned from his father before him. The wool merchant is unrolling bolts of fabric, dyed in colours that catch the morning light. Deep purple from the murex snail, rich red from madder root, sunny yellow from saffron, blue from woad. The colours are brilliant, almost shocking in their intensity. The merchant's customers run their hands over the fabric, feeling its quality, considering its weight, imagining the garments it will become. Tunics and stolas, cloaks and shawls, curtains and cushions, all the soft things that make a house a home. People are everywhere now, moving through the streets with purpose or with leisure, depending on their station in life. The wealthy are carried in litters by slaves, curtains drawn to shield them from the sun, and from the gaze of the common people, they recline on cushions, reading or dozing, or simply watching the world go by through the gap in the curtains. Their litters sway gently with the movement of the bearers, a rhythm as old as civilization itself. The poor walk, their feet bare or shod in simple sandals, their tunics plain and often patched. They carry baskets or bundles, they lead donkeys or goats. They move aside to let the litters pass, then continue on their way. Merchants stride purposefully toward the forum, where business awaits. They carry documents in their hands, letters of credit, lists of goods, contracts to be signed. They walk quickly, impatiently, eager to begin the day's negotiations. Their minds are full of numbers, of prices and profits, of ships arriving and ships departing, of the endless dance of commerce that keeps the city alive. Children run in packs, chasing each other through the alleyways, their laughter echoing off the walls. They play games whose rules are known only to them, games that children have played for thousands of years. Hide and seek, tag, hopscotch scratched into the dust. They are barefoot and brown from the sun. Their tunics are stained with the evidence of play. Their mothers will scold them later, but for now, for this golden morning, they are free. Women move in groups, accompanied by slaves carrying baskets, heading to market or to the baths or to visit friends. They walk slowly, pausing to talk, to examine goods, to exchange gossip. Their voices are low, pleasant, full of the music of everyday conversation. They discuss their children, their husbands, their households. They share recipes and remedies. They complain about the price of oil, the quality of the wool, the laziness of slaves. They are the heart of the city. the centre of its domestic life, and they are everywhere. The streets themselves are remarkable things. They are paved with large polygonal blocks of dark volcanic stone, fitted together so closely that grass can barely find a foothold between them. Centuries of use have worn them smooth, polished by countless feet and cartwheels until they gleam faintly in the sunlight. Deep ruts run along the paving, where the wheels of wagons have passed again and again, wearing grooves into the hardest stone. Grooves that tell the story of the city's commerce, of all the goods that have entered and left, of all the journeys that have begun and ended here. At intersections, raised stepping stones allow pedestrians to cross without stepping into the street itself. For the streets of Pompeii serve as the city's drains. Water flows down them constantly. Rainwater from the roofs, wastewater from the houses, overflow from the public fountains, and the stepping stones keep feet dry. The gaps between the stones are spaced exactly to allow cartwheels to pass through. A careful choreography of pedestrian and vehicle, a dance that has worked for centuries, a system so elegant, so practical, that no one thinks about it anymore. It is simply how things are done. The houses of Pompeii line these streets like closed books. From the outside, they reveal almost nothing. Their walls are plain, painted in muted colours of ochre and red and white, with small windows set high above eye level. The only opening at ground level is the doorway, narrow and uninviting, often flanked by shops or workshops that open directly onto the sidewalk. This inward-turning architecture is deliberate. The Roman house is a private world, a refuge from the noise and chaos of the street. Inside, it opens up, expands, reveals itself. Outside, it keeps its secret. If you were invited into one of these houses, you would pass through that narrow entrance and find yourself in a space that feels suddenly vast. The atrium opens before you, a large central hall open to the sky, with a shallow pool, the impluvium, set into the floor directly beneath the opening. Rainwater falls through the compluvium in the roof, collects in the impluvium, and flows into a cistern below, providing the household with its water supply. The pool is shallow, its water clear and cool, reflecting the sky above, reflecting the opening in the roof, reflecting the faces of those who lean over to look. Around the atrium, doorways lead to the various rooms of the house. The bedrooms, the dining room, the study, the kitchen, the walls are painted, covered with scenes from myth and nature, with patterns and borders, with colours that seem to glow in the soft light. The floor beneath your feet is mosaic, tiny stones arranged in geometric patterns, or pictures of animals and gods, or simple designs that please the eye. And beyond the atrium, through another doorway, lies the peristyle, a colonnaded garden that forms the true heart of the home. The peristyle is a place of peace. Columns support a covered walkway around all four sides, sheltering those who stroll there from sun and rain. In the centre, a garden blooms, roses and lilies, violets and irises, herbs for cooking and for medicine. The plants are carefully tended, watered each morning by the gardener, pruned and shaped and encouraged to grow. Fountains splash softly, their water recirculated through lead pipes that run beneath the floor. The sound is gentle, soothing, a constant soft music in the background of the day. Statues stand among the flowers, gods and heroes, nymphs and satyrs, ancestors and patrons. They are painted in bright colours. Their eyes seem to follow you as you walk. Their poses are graceful, relaxed, as if they too are enjoying the peace of the garden. This is where the family spends its private hours, where children play and adults converse, where meals are sometimes taken in warm weather, where the sounds of the street can finally fade to nothing. The walls of these houses are covered in paintings, frescoes executed on wet plaster, so that the colours become part of the wall itself. Over the centuries, art historians have identified 4 distinct styles of Pompeian painting. The first style, popular in the 2nd and 1st centuries BC, imitated marble panelling with painted stucco. The walls were divided into sections, painted to look like blocks of coloured stone. It was simple, elegant, a way of bringing the luxury of marble to those who could not afford the real thing. The second style opened up the walls, with illusionistic paintings of architectural views, as if you were looking out at imaginary colonnades and landscapes. Columns recede into the distance, temples appear on far horizons, gardens stretch away toward mountains that exist only in paint. It is a style of escape, of opening the small rooms of the house onto vast imaginary spaces. The third style, more delicate and ornamental, framed small mythological scenes within elaborate borders. The walls are divided into panels, each panel containing a tiny painting, a moment from a story, a scene from a myth. The borders are intricate, full of patterns and colours. They draw the eye toward the central image, then release it to wander across the wall. The fourth style, popular in the decades before the eruption, combined all these elements into complex, crowded compositions full of colour and movement, architectural fantasies, mythological scenes, ornamental patterns, all crowded together on the same wall. It is a busy style, a style that reflects a busy world, a world full of information and images, a world much like our own. In the House of the Vetii, one of the most famous in Pompeii, you can still see some of the finest examples of fourth-style painting. The house belonged to two prosperous freedmen, Aulus Vettius Conviva and Aulus Vettius Restitutus, who had made their money in trade. They were not aristocrats, not old money, but they decorated their home as lavishly as any noble. In the entrance hall, a painting of Priapus, the god of fertility, weighs his enormous phallus on a scale, a joke, perhaps, or simply an expression of the Roman belief that the phallus brought good luck. It is a frank image, unembarrassed, cheerful. The god himself seems amused by the whole thing. In the dining room, exquisite panels show scenes from mythology. Ixion bound forever to his burning wheel, Dirce tied to the horns of a wild bull, Pasiphae and the wooden cow she used to seduce the white bull of Poseidon. These are not just decoration, they are conversation pieces, designed to impress guests, to display the education and sophistication of the owners, to spark discussion of the stories they represent. The House of the Tragic Poet, smaller but no less fascinating, takes its modern name from a mosaic in the floor depicting a rehearsal of a satyr play. But its most famous feature is the mosaic at the entrance, showing a chained dog with the words Cave Canem, beware of the dog. It is a warning to visitors, but also a kind of joke, for the dog in question is long dead, and the mosaic itself is harmless. Inside, the walls are covered with scenes from the Iliad, from the life of Achilles, from the myths that every educated Roman knew by heart. This house belonged to someone who wanted to be seen as cultured, as learned. As part of the great tradition of Greek and Roman literature, every house, no matter how modest, has its shrine to the household gods. The lararium, as it is called, is usually a small niche in the wall of the atrium or the kitchen, painted with images of the lares and penates, the guardian spirits of the household. Sometimes the shrine is more elaborate, a little temple in miniature, with columns and a pediment containing small statues of the gods. Here the family makes its offerings, a bit of food from each meal, a sprinkle of wine, a few grains of incense. Here they pray for protection, for prosperity, for the health of their children, for the success of their ventures. The gods of the household are always present, always watching, always ready to help, if properly honoured. The kitchen is usually a small room near the back of the house, dark and smoky, with a raised hearth of masonry where the cooking is done. The pots and pans hang from hooks on the walls, blackened with use. The floor is packed earth or rough stone, easy to clean but never quite clean enough. The slaves who do the cooking work here in conditions that would seem harsh to us, but are normal to them. Heat and smoke and long hours, the endless labour of preparing meals for a household that takes such things for granted. Yet even slaves have their hierarchies, their small dignities. The cook is an important figure, skilled and valued. A good cook is prized, sometimes even purchased at great expense. The kitchen, for all its discomfort, is the heart of the household's practical life, the place where raw ingredients become meals, where fire and water and human skill combine to sustain the family. The family itself is a complex thing in Roman Pompeii. At its head is the paterfamilias, the father who holds legal power over everyone in the household. His wife, his children, his slaves. In theory, his power is absolute. He can punish, sell, even kill those under his authority. In practice, Roman families are more affectionate, more cooperative, more like families anywhere. The paterfamilias consults his wife, considers his children's welfare, treats his slaves with whatever degree of humanity he possesses. The law gives him power, but custom and affection soften its exercise. The wife, the materfamilias, is in many ways the true centre of the household. She manages the slaves, oversees the education of the children, controls the household finances, directs the daily life of the home. She is expected to be modest and virtuous, faithful to her husband, devoted to her family. But she is also expected to be capable, intelligent, resourceful. The ideal Roman woman is not a passive figure, confined to the home and silent in company. She is an active partner in the family enterprise. Whether that enterprise is farming or trade or politics, in Pompeii we have evidence of women who owned businesses, who managed property, who made their own way in the world. The baker Terentius Neo had himself painted with his wife, she holding a writing tablet and stylus, a clear sign that she controlled the finances, that she was literate and capable, that she was his partner in every sense. Children in Pompeii grow up surrounded by the life of the household. They play in the atrium and the peristyle, chase each other through the colonnades, hide among the flower beds. They have toys, dolls of cloth or wood or bone, small animals carved from stone, balls of stuffed leather, knuckle bones for games. They go to school if the family can afford it, learning to read and write from a hired teacher or in a small schoolroom in the forum. They learn the myths and legends of their culture, the stories of gods and heroes that explain the world. They learn to recite poetry, to speak in public, to argue and persuade, and everywhere, on every wall, they see the paintings that surround them, absorbing the visual language of their culture without even realizing it. Some children leave their marks more directly. In the house of the painters at work, excavators found a fresco of exceptional quality, covering one wall of the dining room, and in the bottom corner, scratched into the plaster at a child's height, were simple drawings, stick figures, perhaps a house, perhaps an animal. The painters had not yet finished their work, and a child had come along and added to it. The parents never painted over it, never had it erased. They left it there, that small mark of childhood, as if they understood that such things matter more than perfect decoration. The city beyond the house walls is full of life and noise. The streets are crowded with people going about their business, and the air is thick with sounds, the creak of cartwheels, the shouts of merchants, the laughter of children, the arguments of adults, the barking of dogs, the crowing of roosters, the lowing of cattle being driven to market. The smells are equally various. Bread baking, fish grilling, wine fermenting, incense burning, the ever-present dust, the occasional whiff of something less pleasant from the street drains. It is a city. With all the complexity and energy and confusion that cities have always had, the Forum is the heart of this urban life. It is a large open square, paved in stone, surrounded by colonnades and public buildings. Here the political life of the city takes place. The magistrates hold court in the basilica, judging disputes and administering justice. The city council meets in the curia, debating issues of local importance. The comitium hosts elections, where citizens vote for the candidates they prefer. The walls are covered with political graffiti, painted slogans urging votes for particular men, praising their virtues, listing their qualifications. Make Gaius Julius Polybius magistrate. He brings good bread. Vote for Lucius Poppidius Sabinus, a worthy young man. The fruit sellers support Marcus Epedius Sabinus. The political life of Pompeii is vigorous, competitive, and very public. But the Forum is also a place of commerce. Along its edges, shops and stalls sell every kind of goods: textiles and pottery, jewellery and perfumes, food and drink. Merchants from across the Mediterranean come here to trade, bringing goods from Egypt and Syria, from Gaul and Spain, from Greece and North Africa. The Pompeians are prosperous, and they like to spend their money on things that make life more pleasant. Fine wines and delicate perfumes, beautiful fabrics and elegant furniture, exotic foods and rare spices. The Forum is where they find these things, and the Forum is a place of religion. At its northern end, the Temple of Jupiter dominates the square, its high podium and deep porch visible from everywhere in the Forum. Here the priests perform sacrifices, reading the entrails of animals for signs from the gods. Here the faithful come to pray, to offer gifts, to seek favour. Other temples surround the square. The Temple of Apollo, ancient and revered. The Temple of the Genius of Augustus, honouring the deified emperor. The Temple of the Lars, dedicated to the guardian spirits of the city. Religion is woven into every aspect of public life, and the Forum is where that weaving is most visible. Beyond the Forum, the city spreads out in a grid of streets and alleyways. Some of these streets are broad and grand, lined with fine houses and prosperous shops. Others are narrow and winding, cramped and dark, lined with tenements and humble workshops. Pompeii has its wealthy neighbourhoods and its poor neighbourhoods. Like any city, but the separation is not as stark as in modern cities. Rich and poor live close together, their houses intermingled, their lives overlapping in ways that would be impossible in a more segregated city. The workshops of Pompeii are everywhere. In a metalworker's shop, you can hear the ring of hammer on anvil, see the glow of the forge, smell the hot metal and the charcoal. The metalworker produces tools and weapons, hinges and locks, lamps and candlesticks, all the bronze and iron things that a city needs. He works with assistants and apprentices, passing his skills down through generations. His shop is open to the street, and passers-by can watch him work, can stop to chat, can commission a particular piece. The metalworker is a respected figure, skilled and essential. In a potter's workshop, the wheel turns constantly, shaping clay into vessels of every description: cups and bowls, plates and jugs, storage jars and cooking pots. The potter knows his clays, knows which ones fire to what colour, knows the temperatures and timings that produce the best results. His kiln is a dangerous thing, a fire that must be carefully controlled, and he tends it with the attention of a parent watching a sick child. When the firing is done and the kiln cools, he will open it to reveal the transformed clay, the everyday magic of pottery. In a fullery, the laundry of Pompeii is cleaned and finished. This is not gentle work. The fullers stand in large vats, trampling clothes in a mixture of water and urine, which they collect from public pots placed around the city. The ammonia in the urine acts as a detergent, cutting through grease and dirt. After trampling, the clothes are rinsed, then treated with sulphur fumes to whiten them, then carded with teasels to raise the nap, then sheared smooth. It is smelly, exhausting work, but essential. Clean clothes are a mark of civilization, and the fullers provide them. The bakers of Pompeii are among the busiest workers in the city. Their bakeries are scattered throughout the neighbourhoods, each serving its local community. The work begins long before dawn, as we have seen, and continues through the morning until all the bread is sold. The baker's oven is a large dome of brick or stone, heated by a fire built inside it. When the fire has burned down and the oven is hot enough, the ashes are swept out and the loaves go in, dozens at a time, baked by the stored heat of the masonry. The bread that emerges is dark and crusty. Made from coarse flour, that still contains much of the grain's original goodness. It is the staff of life for Pompeii, the foundation of every meal. And then there are the thermopolia, the fast food joints that dot the city like stars in the night sky. Pompeii has at least 150 of them, serving hot food and drink to people who have no kitchen of their own, or who simply want a quick meal away from home. The typical thermopolium has a masonry counter, often L-shaped, with large jars set into it, dolia that hold hot food, stews and soups, beans and lentils, meat and fish in savoury sauces. Behind the counter, shelves hold amphorae of wine, and a small hearth keeps things warm. You can stand at the counter and eat, or take your food away in a bowl. The prices are low, the food is simple, and the atmosphere is always lively. One thermopolium in particular, excavated in recent years near the Forum, gives us a vivid picture of this aspect of Pompeian life. Its counter was painted with bright colours, red and yellow, green and blue, and the jars still contained traces of the foods they had held. Duck and goat, pig and fish, snails and olives. A price list on the wall offered wine for 1 as, the smallest Roman coin, better wine for 2 asses, and the finest Roman wine for 4. Graffiti nearby recorded the flirtations of customers and barmaids, the boasts of drinkers, the scores of dice games played on the countertop. This was a place where people came not just to eat, but to socialize, to relax, to escape for a while from the demands of work and family. The barmaids who worked in these establishments were often slaves or freed women, and their lives were not easy. They worked long hours, served demanding customers, and were expected to be pleasant and accommodating no matter how they felt. Sometimes they formed relationships with customers, relationships that might be brief or lasting, casual or serious. Sometimes they saved enough to buy their freedom, to set up their own establishments, to become the owners rather than the owned. The thermopolium was a place of possibility as well as labor, a place where a clever and determined woman might make her way in the world. The baths of Pompeii offer another kind of escape. There are several public bath complexes in the city. The Stabian baths, the Forum baths, the Central baths, and they are among the most popular gathering places in Pompeii. People come here not just to get clean, but to socialize, to exercise, to conduct business, to relax. The baths open in the afternoon and stay open until evening, and during those hours they are crowded with people of every class and condition. The experience of the baths follows a familiar pattern. You enter through a courtyard or portico, pay a small fee to the attendant, and proceed to the changing room, the apoditerium. Here you undress, handing your clothes to a slave who will watch them while you bathe. Then you move through a series of rooms of increasing temperature. First, the frigidarium, the cold room, with its pool of cool water. Then, the tepidarium, the warm room, where you begin to sweat gently. Finally, the coldarium, the hot room, with its heated floor and walls, its pools of hot water, its steam and heat. In the caldarium you sit and sweat, scraping your skin with a strigil to remove oil and dirt, then plunge into the cold pool of the frigidarium to close the pores. If you wish, you can also exercise in the palestra, the open courtyard, wrestling or running or playing ball before you bathe. The baths are social spaces as much as they are hygienic ones. Friends meet here to talk, businessmen to negotiate, politicians to campaign. The walls are covered with graffiti, names and greetings, jokes and insults, declarations of love and hate. Successus the weaver loves the barmaid Iris. Lucius was here and he had a great time. I screwed the barmaid. The baths are places where people let down their guard, where the formalities of daily life give way to something more relaxed, more human. The women of Pompeii have their own hours at the baths, usually in the morning, before the men arrive. Some bath complexes have separate facilities for women, but many do not, and so the schedule is strictly enforced. Women bathe in the same way as men, moving through the same sequence of rooms. scraping their skin with the same strigils, enjoying the same social interactions. For women, the baths are a rare opportunity to gather without men, to talk freely, to relax in each other's company. They are as essential to female social life as they are to male. The theatre of Pompeii offers still another kind of escape. Built into the natural slope of the hillside, it seats thousands of spectators who come to watch comedies and tragedies, farces and mimes. The plays are in Latin mostly, though Greek plays are sometimes performed in translation. The actors wear masks, which amplify their voices and allow them to play multiple roles. The audience is not quiet or reverent. They cheer and boo, shout comments, throw things at actors they dislike. But when the play is good, they fall silent, drawn into the story unfolding on the stage. The plays themselves are often based on Greek originals, adapted to Roman tastes. Comedies by Plautus and Terence are perennial favorites, their plots of mistaken identity and clever slaves and young lovers overcoming obstacles still fresh after centuries. Tragedies by Seneca and others offer more serious fare. Stories of doomed heroes and vengeful gods, of fate and fortune and the limits of human power. The audience knows these stories, knows how they end, but comes anyway, drawn by the skill of the actors and the communal experience of watching together. Behind the theatre, in a large open square, gladiators train for their appearances in the amphitheatre. The gladiators are slaves or condemned criminals for the most part, though some free men choose this life for the fame and fortune it can bring. They live in barracks, train under harsh conditions, and fight for the entertainment of the crowd. Their lives are brutal and often short, but when they win, they are celebrated, admired, even loved. Their images appear on lamps and drinking cups. Their names are scrawled on walls. Their exploits are discussed in every tavern and bar. The amphitheatre itself stands at the eastern edge of the city, the oldest surviving Roman amphitheatre in existence. It is a simple structure, built into the ground rather than standing free, with earthen banks supporting the wooden seats, but it can hold the entire population of Pompeii, and on game days it is filled to capacity. The crowd roars as the gladiators enter, parading around the arena in their armor, displaying themselves to the spectators. Then the fighting begins, pair by pair, with the crowd cheering every hit, groaning at every wound. When a gladiator falls, the crowd decides his fate. Thumbs up for mercy, thumbs down for death. It is brutal, bloody, and deeply popular. But most days in Pompeii are not game days. Most days are ordinary, filled with the small tasks and quiet moments that make up the texture of daily life. A woman goes to market, bargaining for vegetables and complaining about the prices. A man goes to work, spending his day at a counter or in a workshop, dealing with customers and suppliers. Children go to school, struggling with their letters, playing in the streets on the way home. Slaves go about their duties, cleaning and cooking, fetching and carrying, the invisible labor that keeps the city running. And in the evening, as the sun sets over the bay, everyone returns home, to family and dinner and the quiet of the evening. Dinner, the cena, is the main meal of the day, eaten in the late afternoon or early evening. For the wealthy, it is an elaborate affair, served in the triclinium, the dining room, where 3 couches surround a low table, and diners recline on cushions as they eat. The meal proceeds in courses: gusttatio, the appetizer, often eggs and olives, salads and small fish; prima mensa, the main course, meat or fish with vegetables, served with wine; secunda mensa, the dessert, fruit and nuts, cakes and pastries, sweet wine. The food is rich and varied, spiced with imported seasonings, sauced with garum, the fermented fish sauce that the Romans love. The conversation flows as freely as the wine, touching on politics and gossip, philosophy and business, the latest news from Rome, and the oldest stories from myth. For the poor, dinner is simpler: bread and olives,
perhaps some cheese or figs, maybe a bit of sausage if there is money to spare. They eat at a simple table in the kitchen or the atrium, sitting on stools rather than reclining on couches, but they eat together, family and perhaps a few close friends, sharing what they have and enjoying each other's company. The meal is modest, but the warmth of family is not. After dinner, as darkness falls, the city grows quiet. There is no street lighting in Pompeii, no public illumination to guide the way. Those who go out after dark carry lanterns, small clay or bronze vessels with oil and a wick, casting a tiny pool of light around their feet. Most people stay home, however, gathered around the hearth or the oil lamps, talking or reading or simply sitting in the darkness. The sounds of the city fade. The carts stop rolling. The shops close. The voices grow still. Only the occasional dog barks, the occasional drunk sings, the occasional lovers whisper in the shadows. Pompeii sleeps, as cities have always slept, wrapped in darkness and silence, and in the houses, in the bedrooms, the Pompeians lie down to rest. Their beds are simple things, wooden frames with woven rope supports, topped with mattresses of straw or wool, covered with blankets of wool or linen. They sleep on their sides or their backs, curled up or stretched out, as people have always slept. They dream their dreams, of the day just past, of the day to come, of things they want and things they fear, of people they love and people they have lost. They breathe slowly, deeply, the rhythm of sleep. And tomorrow they will wake and do it all again. The night deepens. The moon rises over the mountains, casting pale light across the rooftops. The stars wheel slowly overhead, the same stars that have shone on this place for thousands of years, that will shine on it for thousands more. The city sleeps, and in its sleep it dreams of tomorrow. But there are other nights, other moments, that deserve our attention. The festivals of Pompeii, for instance. When the city comes alive with celebration, the Roman calendar is crowded with religious holidays, days set aside to honor particular gods or commemorate particular events. On these days, the city transforms, the temples fill with worshippers, the streets fill with processions, the forum fills with vendors selling festival foods and souvenirs. The whole city takes on a holiday atmosphere, a sense of release from ordinary routines. The festival of the Vinaya, in April, celebrates the wine harvest. The new wine is tasted for the first time, offered to Jupiter and Venus, shared among friends and neighbors. The streets smell of wine, and everyone drinks a little more than usual. The festival of the Cerealia, also in April, honors Ceres, goddess of grain. Games are held in the circus, with chariot races and athletic competitions. The festival of the Floralia, in late April and early May, celebrates Flora, goddess of flowers and spring. Theatres present bawdy comedies. Women dress in bright colors. Flowers are everywhere, woven into garlands and scattered on the streets. The festival of the Saturnalia, in December, is the most anticipated of all. For 7 days, the normal order of things is reversed. Slaves dine with their masters, or even serve as masters for the day. Gifts are exchanged. Small things, candles and clay figurines, nuts and fruits. People wear colorful clothes instead of the usual white. Gambling is permitted, even encouraged. The whole city gives itself over to celebration, to laughter and feasting, and the temporary suspension of rules. It is a time of joy, of release, of human connection across the boundaries that normally divide. And then there are the private festivals, the celebrations that belong to individual families. A birth, a coming of age, a marriage, a death. Each is marked with appropriate rituals. When a child is born, the father lifts it from the ground, accepting it into the family. 8 days later, for a girl, or 9 days for a boy, the child receives its name in a ceremony called the Dies Lustricus, the day of purification. Amulets are placed around its neck. The bola for a freeborn boy, a simple lunula for a girl, to protect it from harm. When a boy reaches puberty, he exchanges his bola for the toga of manhood, the toga virilis. In a ceremony that marks his entry into adult society, he processes through the forum, accompanied by his family and friends, and makes an offering at the temple of the Capitoline Jupiter. He is now a citizen, with all the rights and responsibilities that citizenship entails. When a young woman marries, she goes through an elaborate ceremony. She wears a flame-colored veil, a wreath of flowers in her hair. She sacrifices her childhood toys to the Lares, her household gods. She is led from her father's house to her husband's, accompanied by torches and music, by friends and family. At the door of her new home, she anoints the doorposts with oil and wraps them with wool, then is lifted over the threshold to avoid the ill omen of stumbling. She enters her new life as a wife, a matron, a woman with new duties and new honors, and when someone dies, the family gathers to mourn. The body is washed and anointed, dressed in its finest clothes, laid out on a funeral couch in the atrium. Friends and family come to pay their respects, to speak of the dead one's virtues, to share their grief. A procession follows, carrying the body to the necropolis outside the city walls, where the dead rest forever among the tombs. Offerings are left, food and wine, flowers and incense. The dead are not forgotten. They live on in the memory of the living, in the stories told about them, in the family rituals that honor them. The lares, the household gods, are themselves the spirits of ancestors, watching over the family from generation to generation. The tombs themselves line the roads leading out of Pompeii, forming cities of the dead that mirror the city of the living. The Via dei Sepolcri, the Street of Tombs, is lined with monuments of every description, simple urns and elaborate altars, small temples and grand mausoleums. Here the wealthy rest in marble, their names and achievements carved for eternity. Here the poor rest in simpler graves, marked only by a stone or a pot. Here freedmen and slaves, citizens and foreigners, men and women and children, all lie together in the democracy of death. The inscriptions on these tombs tell us much about the people they commemorate. To the memory of Gnaeus Vibrius Saturninus, who lived 43 years. His wife set this up. To Neavolea Tyche, freedwoman of Gaius, a most deserving woman. Stranger, stop and read this. Here lies a man who never cheated anyone. They speak of love and loss, of the desire to be remembered, of the hope that somehow, beyond death, something of us endures, and in the houses of the living, portraits of ancestors watch over the family. These are not the realistic wax masks that aristocratic Roman families kept in their atria, but painted portraits on walls, or small bronze and marble busts. They remind the living of where they come from, of the generations that preceded them, of the obligations they carry forward. The past is never really past in Pompeii. It lives on in memory and ritual, in story and image, in the quiet continuity of family life. The day begins again, as it always does. The sun rises over the mountains, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold. The roosters crow, the dogs bark, the slaves stir, the bakers light their ovens. Pompeii wakes to another day, another round of the endless cycle that is human life, and we, who come so many centuries later, walk through its streets and wonder at how familiar it all seems. For the Pompeians are not so different from us. They love and hate, hope and fear, work and rest, laugh and weep. They worry about money and health, about their children's futures, about what the neighbors think. They enjoy good food and good wine, the company of friends, the comfort of family. They take pleasure in small things, a beautiful sunset, a child's smile, a joke shared with a co-worker. They are us in all the ways that matter, separated only by the accident of time, and so we walk with them through their city, seeing it through their eyes, feeling it through their senses. The sun is warm on our skin, the stone is cool under our feet. The air smells of bread and fish sauce and flowers and dust. The sounds of the city surround us, voices and footsteps, carts and animals, the distant crash of waves on the shore. We are in Pompeii, truly in Pompeii, not the Pompeii of ash and destruction, but the Pompeii of life and light. The forum fills with people. Merchants call out their wares. Politicians harangue the crowd. Priests lead processions to the temples. Children chase each other through the colonnades. Slaves hurry past on errands. The wealthy are carried in their litters. Looking down on the common crowd, the poor press forward, hoping for a chance to see, to hear, to participate in the life of their city. In the basilica, a trial is underway. The magistrate sits on his raised tribunal, listening to the arguments of advocates. The plaintiff and defendant stand before him, their faces tense with anxiety. A crowd of onlookers fills the rest of the space, following the proceedings with the intense interest that Romans always bring to the law. The advocate for the plaintiff speaks eloquently, passionately, citing precedents and appealing to justice. The advocate for the defendant responds with equal passion, casting doubt on the plaintiff's evidence, questioning his motives. The magistrate listens carefully, weighing the arguments, considering the law. When both sides have finished, he will render his judgment, and the case will be decided. In the market nearby, a woman bargains with a vegetable seller. She holds up a leek, examines it critically, shakes her head at the price. The seller protests that his leeks are the finest in Pompeii, that he could get twice the price from anyone else, that she is robbing him. She smiles slightly, refuses to budge. Finally they agree on a price, and she hands over the coins. The seller wraps the vegetables in a large leaf and gives them to her slave, who adds them to the basket he carries. The woman moves on to the next stall, ready to begin the bargaining again. In a workshop down a side street, a metalworker crafts a lamp. The bronze is warm under his hammer, shaping gradually into the form he envisions. A simple bowl for the oil, a spout for the wick, a handle shaped like a dolphin. He works slowly, carefully, each hammer blow bringing the lamp closer to completion. His apprentice watches, learning the trade that will one day be his. The fire glows in the forge, casting flickering light across the room. The metalworker is content, lost in the rhythm of his work. In a house in the northern part of the city, a woman sits in the peristyle garden, sewing. The sunlight filters through the leaves of the plants, dappling her work with shifting patterns of light and shadow. Her daughter plays nearby, arranging flowers in a small basket. The woman hums softly as she works, a tune she learned from her own mother long ago. The fountain splashes gently in the center of the garden. It is peaceful here, quiet, a world away from the noise of the streets. The woman thinks of nothing in particular, simply enjoying the warmth of the sun, and the presence of her child, and the simple pleasure of making something with her hands. In a schoolroom near the forum, children recite their lessons in unison. The teacher walks among them, listening, correcting, encouraging. The children are learning the alphabet, the letters that will open the world of reading and writing to them. Some struggle, their tongues tripping over unfamiliar sounds. Others recite easily, proudly, showing off their knowledge. The teacher is patient, knowing that each child learns at its own pace. He has been doing this for 30 years, teaching generation after generation of Pompeian children their letters. He will keep doing it until he cannot. In the palaestra of the Stabian baths, young men exercise in the afternoon sun. They wrestle and run, throw the discus and the javelin, push themselves to be stronger and faster. An older man watches them, a trainer who corrects their form and encourages their efforts. These young men are preparing for competitions, for the games that will be held at the next festival. They dream of victory, of the crowns and the glory, of the admiration of the crowd. For now they sweat and strain, pushing their bodies to the limit. In a tavern near the amphitheater, gladiators drink after training. They are not supposed to drink too much. But today is a rest day, and the trainer is not watching. They laugh and joke, telling stories of past fights, boasting of future victories. They are young men mostly, though some are older, veterans who have survived countless battles. They know that any fight could be their last, but they do not think about that. They think about the next fight, the next opportunity, the next chance to prove themselves. The wine flows, the laughter continues, the evening passes pleasantly, and in the houses, as the sun begins to sink toward the sea, families gather for the evening meal. The smell of cooking drifts through the streets, garlic and onions, fish and meat, herbs and spices. Children set the table, or help their mothers in the kitchen. Fathers return from work, tired but glad to be home. Slaves move quietly, completing the last tasks of the day. The household comes together, the day's work done, the night's rest approaching. The meal is simple or elaborate, depending on the family's means. But always there is bread, always there is wine, always there is the comfort of eating together. They talk about the day, what happened at the market, what the teacher said, who they saw in the forum. They share news and gossip, jokes and complaints. They are a family, in all the ordinary ways that families have always been. After the meal, as darkness falls, they gather around the lamps. Someone reads aloud. A passage from Virgil, perhaps, or a letter from a relative in Rome. Someone plays a game of dice or knucklebones. The children draw on scraps of papyrus, or play with their toys. The adults talk quietly, the conversation meandering where it will. The lamps flicker, casting dancing shadows on the walls. The night deepens, and then, one by one, they drift off to bed. The children first, sleepy after their long day, carried to their rooms by their parents. Then the adults, yawning and stretching, saying goodnight to each other. The slaves last of all, after they have cleared away the meal, and banked the fires, and made sure everything is ready for the morning. The house grows quiet, the lamps are extinguished, and sleep claims the household. Outside, the city sleeps as well. The streets are empty, the shops shuttered, the forum silent. Only the night watch moves through the darkness. A small group of slaves and freedmen who patrol the city, watching for fire or crime. They carry lanterns and clubs, calling out the hours as they walk. Second hour of the night, all is well. Their voices echo faintly through the sleeping streets. The moon rises higher, casting its pale light over the rooftops. The stars wheel overhead, the constellations turning slowly through the night. Vesuvius stands dark against the sky, silent and still. No one watches it, no one thinks about it. It is just the mountain, as it has always been, as it will always be. The mountain sleeps, as the city sleeps, as the people sleep. And in their sleep they dream. They dream of the day just past, of the day to come, of things they want and things they fear. They dream of people they love, people they have lost, people they hope to see again. They dream of the gods, perhaps, of Jupiter and Venus and Apollo, of the spirits that watch over their homes and their city. They dream the dreams that humans have always dreamed, the dreams that connect us across all the centuries, that make us one with the sleeping city by the bay. The night deepens, the hours pass, the darkness holds, and then, faintly at first, then stronger, the light begins to return. The sky pales in the east, the stars fade, the roosters crow. Pompeii stirs to another day. We have walked through this city now, through its streets and houses, its public spaces and private moments. We have seen its people at work and at rest, in celebration and in mourning, in the ordinary rhythms of daily life. We have listened to their voices, felt their presence, imagined ourselves among them, and through it all, we have kept the mountain in the background, there but not there, a presence but not a threat, for in this telling the mountain sleeps, the disaster is still far in the future, unimaginable, impossible. This is Pompeii before, And there is so much more to see. The gardens of Pompeii, for instance, are among its greatest treasures. Every house that can afford it has a garden of some kind, from the grand peristyles of the wealthy to the small courtyard gardens of the modest. The Pompeians love plants and flowers, the sight and smell of growing things. They plant roses and lilies, violets and irises, herbs for cooking and for medicine. They train vines to climb the columns, creating living architecture. They place statues among the flowers, gods and heroes that seem to come alive in the dappled light. In the house of the golden cupids, the garden is a masterpiece. A long pool runs down the center, reflecting the columns and the sky. Statues line its edges, satyrs and nymphs, Eros and Psyche, the gods of love and beauty. The flower beds are planted with roses, their scent filling the air on warm days. At the far end, a small shrine houses statues of the household gods, watching over the garden and the family. This is a place of peace, of beauty, of the simple pleasure of being alive in a beautiful world. In the house of the Vetii, the garden is equally magnificent. Statues of Dionysus and his followers populate the space, their marble forms almost alive among the real plants. A fountain plays in the center, its water splashing softly into a marble basin. The columns of the peristyle are painted in bright colors, red and yellow and blue, their surfaces alive with painted figures. This is a garden designed to impress, to delight, to transport visitors into a world of myth and beauty. But even the smallest houses have their gardens. In the house of the surgeon, one of the oldest in Pompeii, a small courtyard behind the atrium holds a few pots of herbs, rosemary and thyme, mint and marjoram, and a single rose bush. The surgeon, whose name we do not know, can step out of his operating room and into this tiny green space, can breathe the scent of herbs and flowers, can find a moment of peace between patients. Even the poorest houses sometimes have a window box, a few pots on a rooftop, a small patch of ground coaxed into bloom. The Pompeians need green things, need growing things, need the connection to the earth that gardens provide. The gardens feed the city as well as beautify it. Vegetables and fruits grow in many gardens, cabbages and leeks, onions and garlic, beans and peas, apples and figs, grapes and olives. A family with a garden can supplement its diet, can eat fresh food from its own soil. In times of scarcity, the garden becomes essential. In times of plenty, it provides pleasure and abundance. The vineyards and farms around Pompeii feed the city even more abundantly. The slopes of Vesuvius are covered with vineyards, their vines trained low to the ground or supported on stakes and trellises. The wine from this region is famous throughout Italy, prized for its quality and character. The farmers tend their vines carefully, pruning and training, harvesting at exactly the right moment. The grapes are pressed in local wineries, the juice fermented in large clay jars buried in the ground. The wine that results is dark and rich, full of the flavor of the volcanic soil. Olive groves cover other slopes, their silvery leaves shimmering in the sun. The olives are pressed for oil, the finest oil in Italy, used for cooking and lighting and cosmetics and medicine. The oil is exported across the Mediterranean, bringing wealth to the region. The farmers who grow the olives are proud of their product, careful in its production, attentive to every detail. The farms also produce grain, wheat and barley, emmer and spelt. The grain is ground in the city's bakeries, baked into the bread that feeds the population. It is also exported, shipped to Rome and other cities, contributing to the wealth of Pompeii. The countryside around the city is rich and productive, a green and golden landscape that supports the urban center. And then there is the sea. The Bay of Naples is full of fish, and fishing is a major industry. Small boats go out each night, returning in the morning with their catches, mullet and bream, anchovies and sardines, the fish that feed the city. Some fish are eaten fresh, others are salted or pickled for preservation. The garum factories along the shore produce the fish sauce that Romans love, fermenting fish entrails in the sun until they become a savory liquid. used in almost every dish. The sea also provides transportation. Pompeii has a port, though it is not a major one. Ships come and go, carrying goods to and from the city. Wine and oil and garum are loaded onto ships bound for Rome and beyond. Exotic goods arrive from across the empire, spices from the east, marble from Greece, textiles from Gaul. The port is busy, bustling, full of the energy of commerce. The people who work at the port are a different kind of Pompeian. Sailors and dock workers, merchants and shippers. They live by the rhythms of the sea rather than the land. They are rougher than the city dwellers, more cosmopolitan, more connected to the wider world. They speak with accents from across the Mediterranean, wear clothes from distant lands, tell stories of places most Pompeians will never see. They bring the world to Pompeii, and Pompeii sends itself out into the world through them. The walls of Pompeii enclose all of this, the gardens and houses, the shops and workshops, the temples and theatres, the baths and brothels, the rich and poor, the free and enslaved, the native and foreign. The walls are old, built centuries ago from large blocks of tufa, the local volcanic stone. They have been repaired and modified over the years, but they still stand strong, encircling the city with their ancient protection. Gates pierce the walls at intervals, leading to the roads that connect Pompeii to the world beyond. The Herculaneum Gate leads north, toward the smaller town of Herculaneum and the slopes of Vesuvius. The Nuceria Gate leads south, toward the mountains. The Stabian Gate leads east, toward Stabia. The Marine Gate leads west, toward the sea. Through these gates, all the traffic of the city flows. Farmers bringing produce to market, merchants taking goods to port, travelers coming and going on their various errands. The gates are busy places, crowded with people and animals and vehicles. The thresholds between city and country, inside and outside. Just outside the gates, the tombs begin. The roads leading from Pompeii are lined with monuments. As far as the eye can see, the dead rest here, just beyond the walls, close to the living, but separate from them. It is a Roman custom, this burial on the roads. The dead are not forgotten. They are part of the landscape, part of the journey in and out of the city. Travelers pass their tombs, read their inscriptions, remember their names. The dead remain present, watching over the road, greeting those who come and go. Some tombs are grand affairs, large monuments that dominate their surroundings. The tomb of the Assacidii, outside the Nuceria Gate, is a small temple, its columns and pediment visible from far away. The tomb of the blue glass vase, outside the Herculaneum Gate, is a more modest structure, but it contained one of the most beautiful objects ever found in Pompeii. A dark blue glass vase with white glass figures applied to its surface, a masterpiece of ancient craftsmanship. The vase is now in the Naples Museum, but the tomb that held it for so many centuries still stands by the road. Other tombs are simpler, small altars, stone urns, markers set into the ground. The poor rest in these humble graves, their names sometimes recorded, sometimes lost. Slaves rest in graves marked only by a simple stone, or no marker at all. Children rest in small tombs, their brief lives commemorated by grieving parents. The necropolis is a city in miniature, a reflection of the living city in the forms and styles of its monuments. And through it all, through all the life and death, the work and rest, the joy and sorrow of this place, the mountain stands. Vesuvius rises behind the city, its slopes green with vineyards and farms, its summit a gentle curve against the sky. It has been quiet for so long that no one remembers when it was not. The oldest legends speak of a time when the mountain burned, but those legends are ancient, almost forgotten. The mountain is just the mountain, part of the landscape, as permanent and unchanging as the sea itself. The Pompeians see it every day. They see it when they wake in the morning, the sun rising behind it, They see it when they go about their business, its bulk always there at the edge of vision. They see it when they relax in the evening, the setting sun painting its slopes in shades of gold and rose. It is so familiar that they hardly notice it anymore. It is just the mountain. It is just there. But the mountain is not just there. It is a volcano, one of the most dangerous in the world, and it is only sleeping. The ground beneath Pompeii shifts occasionally. Small tremors shake the city from time to time. The Pompeians feel them, remark on them, then forget them. The mountain has always been quiet. It will always be quiet. This is what they believe. This is what they need to believe. For what else can they believe? How else can they live their lives, with the mountain looming over them every day? So they do not think about it. They go about their business. They raise their children. They tend their gardens. They worship their gods. They live their lives, as people have always done, as people will always do. The mountain sleeps, and Pompeii lives. The years pass, the seasons turn, children are born, grow up, have children of their own. Old people die, are buried along the roads. Their tombs join the long rows of monuments. Their names are added to the list of those who have gone before. The city changes slowly. New houses are built. Old ones are remodeled. Fresh paintings cover walls that have faded. New shops open where old ones closed. The forum is repaved. The baths are renovated. The theatre is expanded. Pompeii grows and changes, as cities do, but the rhythms of daily life remain the same. The sun rises. The roosters crow. The slaves stir. The bakers light their ovens. The shops open. The streets fill with people. The work of the day begins, and ends, and begins again. And through it all, through all the years and decades and generations, the mountain sleeps, waiting. We have walked through Pompeii now, through its streets and houses, its public spaces and private moments. We have seen its people at work and at rest, in celebration and in mourning, in the ordinary rhythms of daily life. We have listened to their voices, felt their presence, imagined ourselves among them. And now, as the night deepens, as the city sleeps around us, we begin to feel something else, a presence beneath our feet, a deep and ancient power. The night deepens further still. The hour before dawn is always the darkest. The moon is set behind the mountains to the west, and the stars burn with a cold and distant light. The city lies in perfect silence now. No dogs bark, no drunks sing in the alleys, no babies cry in their mother's arms. Even the night watch has paused in its rounds. Somewhere a guard leans against a wall, his eyes half closed, his lantern burning low. He will be glad when his shift ends, glad to return to his small room, to his thin mattress, to the few hours of sleep that remain before the sun rises and the city calls him back to life. In the houses, the people dream. In the house of the Vetii, the two freedmen sleep in separate bedrooms, their slaves curled on pallets outside their doors, ready to respond to any call, any need, any desire. Aulus Vettius Conviva dreams of the banquet he will host next week, the guests he will impress, the deals he will make, the status he will gain. Aulus Vettius Restitutus dreams of his childhood, of the farm where he was born a slave, of the master who freed him, of the long road that led him here. To this house, this wealth, this life he never imagined possible. In the house of the tragic poet, the family sleeps, the father, whose name we do not know, the mother, whose portrait smiles from the wall of the atrium, the children, 2 boys and a girl. The youngest boy dreams of the dog he saw in the forum yesterday, a big dog, a shaggy dog, a dog that wagged its tail when he reached out to pet it. He wants a dog of his own. He will ask his father in the morning. Perhaps his father will say yes. Perhaps there will be a puppy soon. A small, warm, wriggling thing to sleep on his bed. To love him. To be his. In the house of the surgeon, the old man sleeps fitfully. His joints ache. His back hurts. He has been doing this work for 40 years, setting bones, pulling teeth, delivering babies, closing wounds. He has seen so much pain, so much fear, so much hope. He dreams of his wife tonight. She died 10 years ago, but in his dreams she is still young, still beautiful, still alive. She smiles at him, reaches out her hand. He tries to take it, but she fades, dissolves, disappears. He wakes for a moment, lies in the darkness, listens to the silence, then sleeps again. In a small apartment above a shop near the Forum, a family of freedmen sleeps crowded together, parents and children and grandparents, all in one room, all on mats spread across the floor. They have little, but they have each other. The grandmother dreams of the old country, of Greece, of the village where she was born, of the sea crossing that brought her here, so many years ago. So many. She barely remembers it now, but in dreams it comes back. The smell of the sea, the taste of salt on her lips, the fear, the hope, the uncertainty. She wakes for a moment, looks at her grandchildren sleeping beside her. Their faces peaceful, their breathing soft. She smiles in the darkness, then sleeps again. In the gladiator barracks behind the theatre, the fighters sleep in their cells. Small rooms, narrow beds. Little comfort, but they are used to it. They have known worse, much worse. One of them dreams of the arena, of the crowd roaring, of his opponent falling before him, of the editor's thumb raised in mercy, of walking free, a free man, a hero. He will never walk free. He knows this, but in dreams, anything is possible. In a cell nearby, another gladiator does not dream at all. He lies awake, staring at the ceiling, thinking of tomorrow, of the fight, of the man he will face, a man he has seen before, a man he respects, a man he will try to kill. He does not want to kill him, but he will, if he can, if he must. That is the life. That is the choice. Kill or be killed. He closes his eyes, waits for sleep. It does not come. In the priest's house beside the temple of Apollo, the priest sleeps alone. His wife died years ago. His children are grown, gone, living their own lives in other cities. He is old now, old and tired, but his dreams are not tired. His dreams are vivid, bright, full of gods. Apollo speaks to him in the language of light. Diana runs through forests of pure silver. Their voices are music. Their faces are beauty beyond bearing. He wakes with tears on his cheeks, reaches out into the darkness, finds nothing, lies still, waits for morning. In the brothel near the Stabian baths, the women sleep in their small rooms. Their work is done for the night. Their bodies ache. Their minds are numb. They sleep the sleep of exhaustion, of escape, of forgetting. One of them dreams of her childhood, of the farm where she grew up, of her mother's cooking, of her father's laugh, of the man who took her away, sold her, bought her, used her. She does not dream of him anymore. She has trained herself not to. She dreams only of the farm, of the chickens scratching in the yard, of the goats bleating in the field, of the smell of bread baking, of her mother's voice calling her in for supper. She will never see that farm again. She knows this. But in dreams she is still there, still home, still safe. In the bakery of Modestus, the donkeys stand in their stalls, sleeping on their feet. As donkeys do, they have worked all night, turning the millstones, grinding the grain, walking their endless circles. Now they rest, their heads droop, their eyes close. They dream of donkeys' dreams, of green fields, of sweet grass, of freedom they have never known. They were born in captivity. They will die in captivity. They do not know this. They do not know anything. They only know the mill, the circle, the endless walk. But in sleep they are free. In the Forum, the market is empty. The stalls are shuttered. The colonnades are silent. Only the statues stand watch, the emperors and gods, the heroes and benefactors. They gaze out over the empty square with blind stone eyes. They have seen so many nights like this, so many dawns, so many days. They will see many more. Or so they seem to promise, so they seem to guarantee. The stone is eternal, the city is eternal, the empire is eternal. This is what the statues say. This is what they mean. The mountain does not have statues. The mountain does not need them. The mountain is its own monument, its own message, its own meaning. And the mountain dreams on. In the houses near the marine gate, the wealthiest families of Pompeii sleep in the greatest comfort. Their bedrooms are large, their beds are soft, their slaves are many. In one such house, a woman lies awake. She cannot sleep. She never can. Not since her son died. He was only 3. A fever took him. A sudden fever. A high fever. And he was gone. In 3 days. Just gone. She lies awake every night now, thinking of him, remembering his face, his laugh, his small warm body curled against hers. She will never hold him again, never hear his laugh again, never see his face again, except in memory, except in dreams. When she finally sleeps, she dreams of him. He is alive in her dreams, running through the peristyle, laughing in the garden, reaching up for her to hold him. She holds him. She holds him. She holds him. She holds him. And then she wakes, and he is gone again. In another wealthy house, a man sleeps soundly. He is a merchant, a successful one. His ships sail the Mediterranean, bringing wine and oil and garum to ports across the empire. He is rich, respected, influential. He dreams of expansion tonight, of new markets, new routes, new opportunities. He sees his ships sailing farther than ever before, to Spain, to Gaul, to Africa, to places he has only heard of in stories. He sees himself growing richer, more powerful, more respected. He smiles in his sleep. His dreams are good dreams. They are the dreams of a man who has everything. And once more, in the house of the priest of Isis, a different kind of dream unfolds. The priest of the Egyptian goddess sleeps in a small room behind the temple. His head rests on a wooden pillow, carved with images of the goddess, her wings spread, her arms open, her face serene. He dreams of rituals, of ceremonies, of the mysteries he has witnessed. The goddess appears to him in his dream, not as the statue in the temple, but as something more, something living, something real. She speaks to him in a language he does not understand, but he understands anyway. Her words are not words, they are feelings, meanings, certainties. She tells him that all is well, that the world is as it should be, that death is not an ending, that life continues, always. He wakes with tears on his face, but they are not tears of grief, they are tears of joy, of gratitude, of love. He lies in the darkness, thanking the goddess, thanking her for her presence, her protection, her love. Then he sleeps again, and dreams again, and is at peace. In the small houses of the poor, in the cramped apartments above the shops, in the rooms behind the workshops, the people sleep as best they can, on mats, on straw, on hard floors. They are tired, soft tending vetchen, to cleaning vegetables or kneading's pie, for coins that barely buy bread, for a life that is barely life. But they sleep. They have to sleep. Tomorrow will be the same, and the day after, and the day after that. But for now, for these few hours, they are free. In their dreams they are not poor. They are not tired. They are not hired. They are not hired. In their dreams they have enough. Enough food. Enough rest. Enough love. In their dreams their children are healthy. Their parents are alive. Their future is bright. In their dreams they are happy. They are always happy in their dreams. And then they wake, and the day begins again. and they forget their dreams, or try to. In the watchtower near the Herculaneum Gate, a single guard sits looking out toward the mountain. He is the only one awake in all of Pompeii, or so it seems. His lantern burns beside him. His club lies across his knees. He is tired, so tired. His shift is almost over. Soon another guard will come to relieve him. Soon he can go home. Soon he can sleep. He looks out at the mountain. It is darker than the sky behind it, a black shape against the blackness. He has looked at it 1,000 times, 1,000 nights. It has never meant anything to him. It is just the mountain. But tonight, for some reason, he feels something. A shiver, a chill, a sense of something wrong. He shakes his head, tells himself he is tired, imagining things. The mountain is the mountain. It has always been there. It will always be there. He looks away, looks toward the sea. The water is calm, dark, empty. He looks back at the mountain. It is still there, still dark, still silent. He shivers again, pulls his cloak tighter, tells himself it is just the cold. The hour before dawn is always cold. He will be glad when his shift ends. Glad to go home, glad to sleep. He does not know, cannot know, that this is the last dawn he will ever see. The last mountain, the last city, the last night. He only knows that he is tired and cold and ready for his bed. The sky begins to lighten in the east. The first pale glow of approaching dawn. The stars fade one by one. The roosters begin to crow. The dogs begin to bark. The city stirs. Pompeii wakes to another day. The baker of Modestus rises first. He has slept enough. 4 hours. 5. Enough. He pulls on his tunic, his shoes, walks through the dark house to the bakery. His slaves are already at work. The ovens are hot. The bread is rising. The donkeys are walking their endless circles. He nods to the head slave, takes a loaf from the cooling rack, breaks it open. The steam rises. The smell fills his nose. It is good bread. It is always good bread. He is proud of his bread, proud of his bakery, proud of his life. He eats standing at the counter, watching his slaves work, listening to the sounds of the bakery, the fire, the millstones, the donkeys' hooves, the slaves' quiet voices. This is his world, his small world, his good world. He is content. In the house of the Vetii, the freedmen wake to the sound of slaves moving quietly through the atrium. Water is heated for their baths. Breakfast is prepared. Fresh tunics are laid out. They will bathe. They will eat. They will go about their business. Another day of being wealthy, of being respected, of being free. They do not think about how lucky they are. They do not think about the years of slavery, the years of work, the years of uncertainty. They think only of today, of what needs to be done, of who needs to be mine, of who needs to be seen, of what deals need to be made. They are Roman now, fully Roman, free Roman. They have earned this. They deserve this. This is what they tell themselves. This is what they believe. In the small apartment above the shop near the Forum, the family wakes to the sound of the grandmother coughing. She coughs every morning. A deep cough, a wet cough. She has had it for months. She will not see a doctor. Doctors cost money, money they do not have. She says it is nothing, just a cold, just the damp, just old age. They believe her. They have to believe her. What else can they do? The children dress quickly, help their mother prepare breakfast, bread and water, a few olives, a bit of cheese. It is enough. It has to be enough. The father goes to work. He is a porter at the market. He carries goods for merchants. He earns a few coins a day. Enough for bread, enough for rent, enough to live. Barely. He does not complain. No one complains. This is life. This is how it is. He walks through the streets toward the Forum. The sun is rising now. The light is golden, beautiful. He does not notice. He has seen it 1,000 times. he will see it 1,000 more, or so he believes. In the gladiator barracks, the men wake to the sound of the trainer's voice. Up, up, time to train, time to work, time to prepare. They rise from their narrow beds, stretch their aching muscles, rub the sleep from their eyes. They will train all morning, fight all afternoon, rest all evening, and then do it again tomorrow, and the day after, and the day after that, until they die. They do not think about this. They cannot think about this. They think only of today, of the next fight, of the next opponent, of the next chance to prove themselves. One of them looks toward the mountain as he walks to the training ground. It is beautiful in the morning light, green slopes, blue sky, peaceful. He has never thought about the mountain before, but today he looks at it and feels something, a shiver, a chill, a sense of something. He shakes his head, tells himself he is imagining things, looks away, focuses on the day, hard. The mountain is the mountain. It has always been there. It will always be there. This is what he tells himself. This is what he believes. In the priest's house beside the temple of Apollo, the old man wakes slowly. His dreams fade. The presence of the god fades. He is alone again. In his room, in his bed, in his body, he sighs, sits up, stretches. His joints ache, his back hurts. He is old, so old, but he has work to do. The temple must be opened. The rituals must be performed. The people must have their gods. He rises, dresses, walks through the quiet house to the temple. The sun is rising over the mountains. The light falls on the columns, the altar, the statue of Apollo within. The god stands in his niche, carved in marble, painted in bright colors. His face is eyes, serene. His eyes are empty. But the priest knows that the god is there, in the statue, in the temple, in the light. He begins the morning rituals, the prayers, the offerings, the songs. His voice is old, cracked, but it rises in the morning air, carrying the hopes of the city to the gods, or so he believes, or so he hopes. In the brothel near the Stabian baths, the women wake, slowly, reluctantly. They do not want to wake. They do not want to face another day, but they have no choice. The madam will be here soon, calling them to work, demanding they prepare one and demanding they be ready. They rise, wash, dress, paint their faces, put on their smiles. The smiles are the hardest part. The smiles that say they are happy, that they want to be here, that they want you. They are not happy. They do not want to be here. They do not want you, but they smile anyway, because they have to, because this is their life, because there is no other. One of them looks out, wide-eyed and purrs. Her small window sees the mountain in the distance, green slopes, blue sky, peaceful. She remembers the farm, the goats, the chickens. Her mother's voice. She looks away, cannot bear it, cannot bear the memory, cannot bear the contrast. She turns back to her small room, her small bed, her small life, and prepares for another day. In the forum, the market begins to fill. Merchants set up their stalls. Farmers arrange their produce. Shoppers begin to arrive. The day's business has begun. A woman buys vegetables for her family's dinner. A man haggles over the price of a new tunic. A child begs her mother for a sweet. A slave hurries past with a message for his master. The forum is alive, full of sound and movement and color. The sun climbs higher. The day flows warmer. Pompeii settles into its daily rhythm. The mountain watches, silent, still. peaceful. No one looks at it, no one thinks about it. It is just the mountain. It has always been there. It will always be there. This is what they believe. This is what they need to believe. The hours pass. Morning becomes afternoon. Afternoon becomes evening.
The sun begins to sink toward the sea. The light turns golden, then pink, then purple. The city slows. The shops begin to close. The crowds begin to thin. People return to their homes, to their families, to their dinners. In the house of the Vetii, the two freedmen dine together. They recline on couches in the triclinium. Slaves bring course after course. Wine flows freely. They talk of business, of politics, of the games they will attend next week. They are content. They are happy. They are free. In the small apartment above the shop near the forum, the family eats their simple meal. Bread and olives, a bit of cheese, water to drink. They talk of the day, the father's work, the mother's marketing, the children's lessons. They are tired, but they are together, and that is enough. In the gladiator barracks, the men eat their evening meal in silence. They are exhausted, bruised, sore. Tomorrow they will fight. Some of them will die. They do not talk about this. They cannot talk about this. They eat, they rest, they wait. In the priest's house, beside the temple of Apollo, the old man eats alone. His meal is simple. Bread and wine. A bit of cheese. He eats slowly, thoughtfully. His mind is still on the morning's rituals, on the presence of the god, on the mysteries he has witnessed. He is tired, but at peace. He will sleep well tonight, or so he hopes. In the brothel near the Stabian baths, the women prepare for the evening's work. The customers will come soon, looking for pleasure, looking for escape, looking for love. They will find none of these things. They will find only bodies, only transactions, only emptiness. But they will pay, and that is what matters. That is all that matters. The women paint their faces, put on their smiles, wait. The sun sets, the light fades, the stars appear. Pompeii settles into night. The city sleeps, and in its sleep, it dreams. The mountain dreams too, but its dreams are different. Its dreams are deep, ancient, full of fire. The mountain has been sleeping for a long time, centuries, millennia. It has almost forgotten what it is, what it can do, what it has done. But deep within, deep in its heart, the fire still burns, waiting. The mountain stirs in its sleep, turns over, dreams on. The night passes. The dawn comes. Another day in Pompeii, another day of ordinary life, another day of work and rest, of love and loss, of hope and fear, another day of not knowing, of not imagining, of not believing. The mountain watches, the mountain waits, the mountain dreams, and Pompeii lives. The days turn into weeks, the weeks into months, the months into years. Seasons change. The vines grow heavy with grapes. The olives are harvested and pressed. The wheat is cut and threshed. The fish are caught and salted. The wine is made. The oil is stored. The bread is baked. The city continues. Children are born. They are given names. They are welcomed into families. They grow. They learn. They play. They work. They love. They marry. They have children of their own. Old people die. They are mourned. They are buried. They are remembered. Their tombs line the roads. Their names are carved in stone. Their stories fade. But for a while, for a little while, they are remembered. New people come to the city. Merchants from overseas. Travellers from distant lands. Slaves from conquered territories. They bring new goods, new ideas, new customs. They are absorbed into the life of the city. They become Pompeian, or as Pompeian as anyone can become. The city changes. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, new buildings rise, old ones are repaired, fresh paintings cover faded walls, new shops open where old ones closed. The forum is repaved again, the baths are renovated again, the theatre is expanded again. Pompeii grows and changes, as cities do, as cities must. But The rhythms remain the same. The sun rises, the roosters crow, the slaves stir, the bakers light their ovens, the shops open, the streets fill with people. The work of the day begins, and ends, and begins again. The mountain watches, always watches, never changes, or so it seems. But deep within, deep in its heart, something is happening, something is building, something is preparing. Pressure grows in the chambers far below. Magma rises through cracks in the earth. Gases build, heat increases. The mountain is waking, slowly, gradually, imperceptibly, but waking. No one notices. No one feels the slight tremors that shake the ground. No one sees the steam that sometimes rises from the summit. No one smells the sulfur that occasionally drifts down the slopes. And if they do, if they feel, if they see, if they smell, they do not understand. They do not connect. They do not believe. The mountain is the mountain. It has always been there. It will always be there. This is what they believe. This is what they need to believe. And so they go on, living their lives, raising their children, tending their gardens, worshipping their gods, dreaming their dreams, not knowing, not imagining, not believing. The years pass. A decade, 2 decades, 3. The mountain stirs more often now. Small earthquakes shake the city. Some damage buildings, crack walls, topple columns. The Pompeians repair the damage, rebuild what has fallen, and forget. The mountain settles again, for a while, then stirs again. More earthquakes, more damage, more repairs. Still, they do not understand. Still, they do not connect. Still, they do not believe. In the year 62, a powerful earthquake shakes the city. Temples collapse. Houses fall. People die. The forum is damaged. The baths are damaged. The theatre is damaged. Pompeii is in ruins. The people are terrified. They flee into the open spaces, away from falling walls, away from collapsing roofs. They wait. The shaking stops. The ground is still. They return. They survey the damage. They begin to rebuild. They do not connect the earthquake to the mountain. They do not imagine that the mountain could be the cause. They do not believe that the mountain could ever be anything other than what it has always been. Quiet, peaceful, permanent. They rebuild. They repair. They restore. Years pass. The work continues. The city rises again. New buildings replace old ones. Fresh paintings cover cracked walls. The forum is repaved once more. The baths are renovated once more. The theatre is expanded once more. Pompeii recovers, as cities do, as cities must. And the mountain watches, and the mountain waits, and the mountain builds toward what it will become. The years pass. 17 years since the great earthquake. The city is almost fully restored. New temples have been built. New houses have risen. New shops have opened. New people have come. Old people have died. Children born after the earthquake are now adults. They have children of their own. They do not remember the shaking. They do not remember the fear. They have only heard stories. Stories from their parents, their grandparents. Stories that seem distant, unreal, like myths. The mountain is quiet now. Has been quiet for years. No tremors, no steam, no sulfur, just the green slopes, the blue sky, the peaceful summit. The people have forgotten, if they ever knew, if they ever understood. They live their lives as people do, as people have always done, as people will always do. The sun rises, the roosters crow, the slaves stir, the bakers light their ovens, the shops open, the streets fill with people. The work of the day begins, and ends, and begins again. It is August now, the month of the harvest. The grapes are ripening on the slopes of the mountain. The farmers watch them carefully, waiting for the perfect moment to pick, to press, to make the wine that will sustain the city through the year. The days are hot. The sun beats down on the stone streets. People seek shade in the colonnades, in the gardens, in the cool rooms of their houses. They drink water from the fountains. wine mixed with cool water from the cisterns. They rest in the afternoon heat, then resume their work when the sun begins to sink. It is a rhythm as old as the city, as old as civilization, as old as humanity itself. On the 20th day of August, in the year 79, nothing unusual happens. The sun rises, the roosters crow, the slaves stir, the bakers light their ovens, the shops open, the streets fill with people. The work of the day begins. In the forum, merchants sell their goods. In the baths, people relax and socialize. In the theatre, actors rehearse a comedy. In the amphitheatre, gladiators train for the games next week. In the houses, women manage their households. In the workshops, craftsmen ply their trades. In the schools, children learn their letters. Ordinary day, ordinary life, ordinary Pompeii. The mountain watches, the mountain waits. The mountain is ready. Deep within, far below the green slopes, far below the peaceful summit, the pressure has built beyond bearing. The magma has risen as high as it can rise. The gases can no longer be contained. The mountain must release, must erupt, must become what it has always been. A volcano. The people do not know this, cannot know this. They go about their business, their ordinary business, their ordinary lives. The sun climbs higher. The day grows hotter. The afternoon passes slowly. People seek shade, rest, water. They do not look at the mountain. They do not think about the mountain. The mountain is just the mountain. It has always been there. It will always be there. This is what they believe. This is what they need to believe. And so they do not see. They do not notice. They do not imagine. The sun begins to sink toward the sea. The light turns golden, then pink, then purple. People return to their homes, their families, their dinners. The evening meal is prepared, eaten, enjoyed. Families gather, talk, laugh,
Share the news of the day. Children play. Adults relax. Slaves clear away the dishes. The lamps are lit. The night settles over the city. People drift toward bed, toward sleep, toward dreams. They do not know, cannot know, that this is their last night, their last dinner, their last conversation, their last embrace, their last embrace, their last kiss. They sleep, they dream. The mountain does not sleep. The mountain is awake now, fully awake. The pressure is unbearable. The magma must rise, must break through, must become fire. In the hour before dawn, when the night is darkest, when the city sleeps most deeply, the mountain opens. A crack appears near the summit, then another, then another. Then a vast chasm tears open, and the mountain begins to speak, not with words, with fire, with ash, with stone, with death. A column of ash rises into the sky, higher, 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 until it spreads like a dark umbrella over the world. The sound is enormous, a roar that shakes the earth, that wakes the dead, that announces the end of everything. In Pompeii, people wake to darkness, to noise, to terror. They do not understand, cannot understand. They stumble from their beds, into the streets, into the chaos. Ash begins to fall, light at first, like snow, then thicker, heavier, darker. The sky is black, the sun is gone, the world has ended. They run, they hide, they pray, they die. The mountain does not stop, cannot stop. It pours its fire into the sky, its ash onto the city, its death into the world. For 2 days, for 2 endless days, the mountain speaks, and when it is silent again, Pompeii is gone, buried, forgotten, lost. The people are gone too, their bodies preserved in the ash, their last moments frozen, their ordinary lives ended, their ordinary world destroyed. And for centuries, for 17 centuries, they lie beneath the ground, forgotten, unknown, unremembered, until one day, in the 18th century, workmen digging a tunnel find something strange: statues, paintings, houses, a city. Pompeii is found again, and the world marvels at the preservation, at the tragedy, at the ordinary lives preserved in ash. We walk through those streets now. We see their houses, their shops, their temples, their theatres. We see their paintings, their graffiti, their furniture, their food. We see them, the people, their bodies preserved, their faces visible, their last moments captured. We see a man covering his face with his cloak, a woman clutching her child, a family huddled together, a slave still holding his master's money, a dog still chained to a post. We see them, and we remember them. We remember them ordinary lives, their ordinary days, their ordinary world. We remember that they were us, and we are them, separated only by time, only by accident, only by the mountain that slept, and woke and destroyed. But tonight we do not think about the ending. Tonight we think about the beginning, about all the years when Pompeii was just a city, a place where people lived, where children were born and grew up and had children of their own, where work was done, and meals were eaten and stories were told, where the sun rose and set day after day after day, and nothing out of the ordinary ever happened. We think about the baker of Modestus, proud of his bread, content in his life. We think about the two freedmen in the house of the Vetii, enjoying their wealth, their freedom, their lives. We think about the family in the small apartment above the shop, poor but together, tired but loving. We think about the gladiators in their barracks, fighting for their lives, dreaming of freedom. We think about the women in the brothel, enduring their lives, dreaming of home. We think about the old priest, tending his temple, loving his God. We think about all of them, all the ordinary people, living their ordinary lives, in their ordinary city, by the beautiful bay, beneath the peaceful mountain. They did not know, they could not know, they lived, they loved, they died, and we remember them, we honor them, by walking through their streets, by entering their houses, by imagining their lives, by telling their stories, their ordinary, beautiful, fragile stories. The night deepens around us, the city sleeps, the mountain dreams, but we know what the mountain dreams. We know what the morning will bring, and yet, we stay here, in the quiet, in the darkness, in the peace of the night before. We stay with them, with the people of Pompeii, with their ordinary lives, their ordinary dreams, their ordinary world. We stay as long as we can, holding the moment, cherishing the peace, remembering the ordinary, because ordinary is precious. Ordinary is beautiful. Ordinary is all we have. And one day, far in the future, someone may walk through our cities, our houses, our ordinary spaces, and wonder about us, about our lives, our dreams, our world. May they remember us kindly, as we remember the people of Pompeii. May they tell our stories, as we tell theirs. May they hold our ordinary moments, as we hold these, in the darkness, in the quiet, in the peace of the night. The city sleeps, the people dream, the mountain dreams too. But for now, for this moment, for this breath, all is well, all is peaceful, all is ordinary, and ordinary is enough. The stars turn overhead, the moon sets behind the mountains, the hour before dawn approaches, the city sleeps on, and we who have walked so far, who have seen so much, who have imagined so deeply, we begin to feel the pull of sleep ourselves. Our eyes grow heavy, our thoughts grow soft, our breathing slows. We are drifting now, drifting away from Pompeii, away from the streets and houses, away from the people and their lives, away from the ordinary world preserved in ash. We are drifting back through time, back through centuries, back to our own world, our own time, our own ordinary lives. But we carry something with us, a memory, a feeling, a connection. The people of Pompeii are with us now. Their ordinary lives touch our ordinary lives. Their ordinary world illuminates our ordinary world. We are not alone. We have never been alone. We are part of something vast, something ancient, something enduring, the great river of human life, flowing through time, carrying us all, ordinary people, ordinary lives, ordinary dreams. And the river flows on, and we flow with it, and Pompeii flows with us. Forever remembered, forever ordinary, forever beautiful. The night is quiet now. The story is told. The journey is complete. It is time to rest, to let go, to drift, to sleep. Close your eyes now. Feel the soft weight of blankets, the gentle support of your pillow, the slow rhythm of your breath. You are safe. You are warm. You are at peace. And somewhere, far away in time, in a city by the sea, beneath a mountain that sleeps, ordinary people rest too, resting as you rest, dreaming as you dream, connected across the centuries, by the simple act of sleeping, by the ordinary peace of night. Sleep now, sleep deeply, sleep peacefully, and if you dream, dream of ordinary things, of sunlight on stone, of bread fresh from the oven, of children's laughter, of love, of life, of all the ordinary moments that make a life worth living. Dream of Pompeii, and let Pompeii dream of you. Good night, sleep well, and may your dreams be peaceful, may your rest be deep, may your ordinary life be beautiful, just as theirs was, just as ours is, just as it always has been, and always will be. Good night.